In the midst of all of this action and all of the different chaos that has occurred during this, I guess, part 2 of the Swordbearer assassination arc, I still don't know if we've gotten further clarification if this is a separate arc, if it has its own name. I'm calling it really the Bloodshed Hotel incident just for now, because I do think it's a completely separate story, but you really forget that the whole point of all of this was for CHIHIRO and the Masumi to fight Sombra and actually eliminate him as a threat, whether that be bringing him back over to their side or actually having to remove him from the equation, if you get what I mean. And it is so great that even though we have so many crazy things going on elsewhere in the story within Kamunabi headquarters, that the main point of where this arc all started is still happening, and both pieces of the story are beyond interesting, where Hokazono could cut to the other section and I wouldn't be mad at all with what's going on, because the battle between Sombra and CHIHIRO here is astounding, to say the least. It truly is peak fiction, and I don't say that lightly. I know people throw around buzzwords all of the time, but this is exactly the kind of sauce that makes a great and fun series to read. And I know there's always going to be the people that exist in the community that think that I'm grifting or I'm just trying to jump into Kagurabachi's hype, but since Rakuzachi, I mean, I loved Sojo, don't get me wrong, but since Rakuzachi, I think Kagurabachi has stood out and proved that it is unique above any other series that's going on. Hey guys, real quick, if you want to support the channel, make sure you go down to gamersubs.gg/noop and get 10% off your nootropics and energy supplement fix, and we'll get back to the video. There is always the Shonen Jump axe curse always looming over most other series, but it is safe to say that Kagurabachi is not one of those series, because the swordplay, the choreography in this fight between CHIHIRO and Sombra, and not even just that. Before we get towards the end of the series, and for a fast-paced series like this, before people say that this series was just fights and just hype moments and nothing else, you have to give credit to the character dynamics and the depth that goes into all the different layers of characters like Sombra, characters like CHIHIRO, especially in this fight scene. Because as we're watching Sombra kind of come to terms with the fact that there may actually be another way, but he is so bought into his own beliefs. Even from the beginning, he thinks to himself that, you know what, creating Enton, a blade that would be able to destroy the Tsunuchi without actually killing all of the other sword bearers, would be something that Kunishige Rokuhiro would do. But even so, Sombra has already started walking that path. Now that he's seeing that CHIHIRO is not going to back down, he's going full force to try and stop CHIHIRO, which is one of the most amazing things ever, because you see CHIHIRO, even though he's not matching up to Sombra, Sombra is still leagues above CHIHIRO, which is something that I'm glad isn't a issue when it comes to where these characters' power levels are, because CHIHIRO being able to defeat Sombra here would definitely be an interesting level up from where he was last. But it's still very clear that Sombra has a high advantage in this fight, and CHIHIRO is literally fighting for his life to survive. But at the same time, by fighting for his life, CHIHIRO is awakening newer forms of his Enton's true realm. He even says specifically in this chapter that he feels more one with Enton than he ever has before, and more in sync with his movements, to the point that it's a little unclear, but because I don't want to say that it is directly copying all of the different enchanted blade abilities, but I think it's important to remember that when CHIHIRO was using the remnants of Cloud Gouger, especially against Yora when his emotions were the highest, he was able to use a combination attack of Mei and Shred, which ended up creating this black lightning that even Yora noted was an interesting combination attack. It makes me wonder that with CHIHIRO now being able to very obviously use Sombra's ability to swap between feathers. Now CHIHIRO can swap between his goldfish, and the two of them are basically fighting not on equal level, but with the same ability, which I love Hokazono's paneling here with the feather and the fish. Absolutely beautiful. This is the kind of peak that I'm talking about. And the battle isn't for CHIHIRO to defeat Sombra. The battle is just for CHIHIRO to prove that Enton can harm and destroy the enchanted blades. Because Sombra says, you haven't even been able to put a nick in my blade, and yet you think that you can destroy the Shinichi. And Chihiro agrees that, hey, if I'm not going to be able to even put a crack in Tobimune here. Again, beating Sombra, beating Sword Saint is far off of the ability that I'm capable of right now. But if I can't show Sombra the option that he actually can live if I am trained, if I am given the potential and I have the time to grow and we have the time to plan out something different than what you have planned. That's all Chihiro is trying to show here. And again, another great inclusion here with bringing everything full circle is the Masumi helping in this battle against Sombra, because Chihiro is not alone. The Masumi, as we've gotten confirmation of way back when this arc first started, are not only the best possible fighting force to work alongside Sombra, they're as well the best possible fighting force to work against Sombra, because they are able to, with their ninja sorcery, use stealth techniques that literally get rid of all of their presence. That's temperature, that's, you know, air movements, all of those different things that Sombra would be able to pick up on with echolocation or with anything else, like with, as Chihiro mentions, he's able to sense the surrounding area with his feathers as well. So with the combination of the Masumi, even though Chihiro is hit so hard by the EIY Purity style clash that he has with Sombra that his hand is literally broken by the force that Sombra brings to his strikes, Sombra thinks that Chihiro is using Aka to replicate Suzaku, which is one, awesome that Chihiro is using Aka like that to literally copy Suzaku. You have to love it. With every step of the way, Chihiro is using his abilities in ways that we have never seen. But obviously we've seen Aka be used to copy Suzaku, but what I mean by this is the true realm of Enton is only just beginning. Chihiro was able to use Nishiki earlier against Hirohiko to, you know, buff the inner ear that he had, so that way he didn't fall victim to the disorientation. And now we see he's able to just use Aka on the fly like that to completely replicate Suzaku. But this is all a trick, because he didn't just use it to use Suzaku. He completely teleported behind him when the Masumi distracted Sombra in order for Chihiro to get one good EI White Purity style slash, putting everything that he has into this ability. And we see, which is just even more amazing paneling, the blade begin to have a crack as we see the reflection of the force and the ripples that are put through the water as Chihiro clashes with Sombra one last time. And I really have to say, while it would be terrible for Tobimune to break here, I think that might be what happens, because not only would that show Sombra completely that breaking the enchanted blades is capable, and still leave him as an ally that we can use for the future, it gets rid of another one of the enchanted blades that are powering up the Sword Saint, and it potentially shows that even if we aren't able to best the Sword Saint in power, in experience, in sword skills, we can at least still come up with some kind of plan to break the blade. And if we can break the blade, then the Sword Saint will end up powerless. We hope. Because I'm fully convinced, at least for me, just to end this review off on a bad note, that the Shinichi and the Sword Saint have achieved the highest state of True Realm, which is they are literally just fused together. Sure, they exist as separate entities, but even if you destroy the Shinichi, the Sword Saint can still bring about the malediction. And even if you destroy the Sword Saint, you know, vice versa. I think they have literally fused together, similar to, you know, Bleach and Zanpakuto's, if you've read or watched Bleach. But anyway, guys, this was another amazing chapter, and I have to say that, again, I will be here every week covering this series, because it seems like every week there is something new or something hype going on that makes me excited to continue reading, and I've been loving it. The fact that they mentioned that Sombra could probably do something against the Masumi if he would heal his eyes and he still refuses to, that's just great character. I love it. And all I can say is hit that like button and subscribe if you don't want to miss any future videos, because I promise you, I've got plenty more Kagurabachi content coming, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.